rates in the low twos, 30-year fixed rates. So for all you listeners, out there that have that low interest rate below 3%, hold on to it. Because right now, mortgages are a little different. But don't be scared. We've got plenty of options, to get you into something that's going to be affordable short term. And it comes to my phrase that we're going to bring up over and over and over again. When you're out there looking for a home, we want you to marry the home, be in love with the house. We can date the rate for a little while. We can look at a shorter term product for you. We can get you into something that's going to be affordable, because we know if you look at history that rates will come down at some point. But what happened this week was the Fed met, and the Fed's not direct, and that's the problem, right? They're not giving core information and saying, hey, we expect this to happen. Right? So they're playing the game with the markets. So the stock market got crushed this week. Yeah. It is what it is. But interest rates, they raised the Fed rate. So the Fed rate is the rate in which the Fed lends money to banks. So what's affected by that? So what's affected is your car loans, your home equity lines, your student loans, your personal loans, your business loans. If you're a business that just took out money to start your business, or took money to do improvements to your business, those rates are going up.
Think about the student loans. Isn't that ridiculous? So you're going to give everybody $10,000, which that's another topic for another day. Don't get me going. Okay. So, but then you're going to raise their rates. So what, you're just going to take that $10,000 back?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the thing is we have to fight inflation, right? So to be honest with you, with the marketplace where it is now, when the Fed raises rates, it's actually going to be good for housing at some point, right? It's not going to be good for your home equity line. If you're doing repairs and, you've got a fixed income, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's going to work its way out. So we're hoping Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac came out within the last 2 weeks. I've been saying the same thing. 90% of my clients are going into ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages. And there's a reason for it, because we do believe in the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to see rates like Fannie and Freddie are predicting in the mid to low fours for a fixed 30-year fix. Now, compared to yesterday, that could be almost 2% higher. But these times are unprecedented, and it's, I don't want people to think this is 2008 all over again.
Yeah. You know what? Thank you for saying that.
It is short term. It is kind of like it, because rates are in the sixes. That's the last time we saw that. But the big difference is this. We have a war going on. Okay? Russia and Ukraine, there's a war. Food expenses, energy expenses, things are expensive. There's a supply chain issue. When the supply chain issue resolves itself, prices will come down. Inflation will come down. So what they have to do is they have to raise the cost of things that for people to borrow money right now in order to make everything work better.
Yeah. And I know that we have a problem with product coming in. I got a ding on my windshield on my car in April, and it's still back ordered.
Oh, no.
Yeah, still back ordered.
A windshield?
A windshield.
Wow.
Yeah. Since April.
It's a special windshield.
It is a special windshield. It's a special windshield. It is. But you know what, Pete? I sort of just jumped right into it. I wanted to get that out of the way. Why don't we give you an opportunity to tell our WATD listeners a little bit about you and a little bit about CrossCountry Mortgage, where you're located?
Yeah, so we're on 139 in Marshfield. I've been in the business for almost 20 years. During those 20 years, we've seen a lot. So we've seen these things. So, I think the most important thing, as our owner said to us last week from CrossCountry, we had a nice Massachusetts Northeast meeting. And what he said was, there's going to be a little pain for short term here, I think, through the holidays. But looking forward to Q1, Q2, it shouldn't deter you as a homeowner to go out and buy a home, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what, we try to instill in every single one of our clients, that we're not here just for one transaction. Yeah. We're going to be the person that's going to be calling you 2 times a year, doing a semi-annual loan review, going through all your different options. You've got to keep the mindset that your home is most likely your greatest asset, right? And you've got to find a realtor that cares about that, like the realtors at Boston Connect. You've got to find a loan officer that cares about that. And you don't want to like be pushed in and pushed out of a deal, right? It has to be something. This is a relationship. I'm not just coming in to date you short term. We're getting married.
We're getting married.
Right? I've had clients that I've worked with since the early 2000s, literally. And by the way, we've refinanced them. They've bought. We've refinanced them. They've bought. We've done construction loans. They've bought. I mean, owning a home, it's just like like you'll talk about in the next hour, right, with the financial team, right? It's just like you want to be able to look at this as a long-term play, or however long you're going to look at it, like you would a 401k, like you would any other investment, because it's worth a lot of money. You don't want to mess around with it, and you can't just say, hey, I'm going to use anybody.
Yep.
You got to use someone you trust. You got to use someone your realtor recommends to you, because it's their experience and their confidence and their expectations that are going to be set to help you get through a transaction and help you post-closing, which is really, really important in today's world.
And I'll let you know, and I know you're trying to get a word in here, and I'm
That's
going to let
okay.
you right after me, but I will tell you, because I'm a very heavy listing agent, and when we have multiple offers, and we're not seeing that as much, but there are still some instances where there are multiple offers. I'll tell you, if I see Peter.Fickeisen on the CrossCountry Mortgage letterhead,
Yep.
right there, that's like a check mark in my head. You know what I mean? But then, with some of these other ones, and I'm not going to call out any one bank, but I just feel like the big banks, they're sort of, like one big bank just came out with something now where they're doing 100% financing again for people, right? And it's like, are we going to go back there again? Like, I hope with some regulations, but I find them to be like big and clumsy. Like I don't have the opportunity to call anybody and say, hey, how's this looking? So,
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because my position in the company, sometimes I have to write escrow letters for loan officers.
Yep.
Just saying that, I received the checks and it cleared in our accounts. But I had a big box company call me, big bank call me, and it was almost like I had to do their job. And for I don't know how to do your job at all. I barely know money. Okay, so so for someone to be like, yeah, here's some money, go buy a house. But I felt like they didn't know their client. They had no idea what they were talking about. I had to sort of walk them through what has happened, and I'm not even involved in it. All I was just saying is, yes, I received this check. No, it wasn't this amount. It was this amount. Where'd the money come from? Like, it was, and they were like, oh, the client is here. And I'm like, wait, where are you? And it was some state out west that, like, I'm like, so your client is not there because they're buying a house in Massachusetts.
Right.
And they were just at my office like an hour ago. So
I think that's sort of the thing. When you go to the big box banks, you're not going to find the service level that's going to be personal.
Yeah.
And even the online banks, which is, something that I think it's really important for you all to know, that, when you're looking at interest rates and you're looking online, you have to understand that online is a marketing forum. I want it to be truthful. I want it to be exact for you. I want you to be able to find information. Like, you could Google how to put together a crib.
yeah.
Right? You could Google how to put together a microphone stand.
Yep.
Right? But the thing is, you want to Google, people want that direct satisfaction that,
Yeah.
all right, I got to get pre-approved. I want this house.
Yeah.
Let me go online and bang, here comes Rocket Mortgage. And it's
I was
great.
just gonna
And
say
it's
that.
great. And you
Yep.
you download the app. Almost every mortgage company has an app. But the thing is, you need someone personable that's going to be able to deliver the news, because when you look at that rate online, the most important thing everyone has to understand is, what is the cost to get there, right? And we can show you a rate of, 2% below the normal rate today, of course, but the cost is going to be huge to get there,
yeah.
right? And that's where we factor in APR. So whenever you're looking at a rate, if it says 4% and the APR is 6.5%, that means there's a huge cost to go in and get that interest rate. Could be 2 points, 3 points, and a point equals 1% of your loan amount. So if your loan amount was $500,000, 1 point would be $5,000. Okay, 2 points would be 10, 3 points would be 15. So when you're looking at interest rates online, it's really important that you check that APR and you get a full estimate of costs.
What's that?
What is that?
What is that?
Sounds like country.
I know, I don't know what's going on.
Actually,
So I don't
more
know.
jazz.
I know, I guess
we just keep talking through it. Just pretend like it's not happening.
Perfect.
We have talked about this time and time again on the show. It's like you have to have a team. Like this is such an important investment in your future and in your now that you need a team on your side. And
100%.
personally, I'm not the type of person to just go online and do everything online and not talk to somebody. I need someone
you said we're
to
disconnected. How? Where everything is working.
Why is it every time I come on we get disconnected?
I don't know. It's so weird. Are we back?
I would say we're back.
I would say we're back.
So we were talking about a team,
Yeah.
and Melissa was talking about being a team player.
Yeah, well, it's such an important factor in sort of making this decision because personally, I need someone to walk me through this. I've never bought a house before, so I would want somebody on my side to be able to talk me through it. So I'm not going online getting everything, just virtually or whatever. I want to sit down with somebody and I want
Right.
to talk to them. And I want, just like you want a real estate agent to come to the house that you're going to be putting in an offer, I want my loan officer to be like, yeah, what is that?
All right, you're reconnected. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
All right, just make sure his mic level's boosted a little before he goes back on. He was still soft.
I am? Okay.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, you're on.
Yeah, like I would want somebody, I need somebody to hold my hand essentially.
Right. Yep. So the most important thing about having, a core team, having a realtor, an attorney, a lender involved in a transaction that all know each other is you get that experience that everyone's working for you.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
By the way, there's no referral fees. There's nothing going back and forth out there to the public. Like we are just working together for your needs only.
Yeah.
I'm not working for you. We're not working for the
This is your
attorney.
full-time gig.
Yeah,
like
this is what we do.
you've dedicated your life to helping others achieve
Correct.
their financial goals, and it's having this sort of financial freedom and future of investing in themselves. And you're the one telling people this is what you can afford. This is
and
what
we-
we're able to give you.
And Melissa, we want those expectations to be clear, not only to each other and to our potential
Yeah.
buyer, but we want the seller to understand all the things that are going on are actually going to happen.
Yeah.
Because that's when people's money come in jeopardy, right? And we really need that to happen.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about your process? So, somebody comes to you and says, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. I need to know what I can afford. Like, what is your process? I know everybody has their own. We have ours on our end.
Yeah.
A lot of loan officers have their own sort of process, but you specifically.
So our process is basically what we're going to do is we're going to get a nice referral from either a past client, a realtor, an attorney, but we get a really good referral. That's what we work on. Once we get the referral, we book a time to talk.
Yeah.
Right? So we book a time to talk on the phone or in person. Usually takes about 15, 20 minutes. We collect general information. Then we have a client fill out an online application. The reason why we do an online application, we can do these live too, but the reason why we do an online application is because everything's digital these days.
Yeah.
And we want the client to have the ability to upload documents and sign things online. Okay? So they do the online application. We do our checks and balances. We request documents from them. So basically, we're putting you in the best position to win a home because we're pre-underwriting everything that we're doing today. Okay? We want to make sure every deal works up front before the client goes out and looks for a home. Because the worst thing that could ever happen is you've gone out and looked for a home, and next thing you know, you've got the home under agreement, and no one's looked at your information.
Yes.
So you're a W-2 landscaper. You've gone out, but...
Did you already give the example of what happened in our office last week?
I didn't.
No, but-
We looked at each other at the exact same moment
But
thinking
it's,
it.
so we find out all that information up front to make sure everything's going to work. And we're just very happy that in the last 10 years, we've never issued a denial for,
Wow.
not being able to approve someone. So...
Can I just say, is it common sense for us as real estate agents to think that is the process? I mean, is
No.
it? So is it naive of us to think? So one of our agents last week has a listing. It was literally about to close that week, and And then they never verified any of the information, and the person did not qualify, not only for that loan, but for any loan.
Yeah.
I won't tell you the name of the person on air, but I will off air. And you can tell me, is this something I should be concerned about when I see that name come across on a pre-approval letter again?
Well, again, I think a lot of it comes with experience, and in having fine-tuned a process over almost 20 years and understanding what we need to get done at every certain loan level. So, when people ask me rates or people ask me products, it really depends on your scenario. It's not like a hat that's one size fits all. That's not what a pre-approval is. A pre-approval is really, what are we looking to do? What is the house that you want to buy? And we need to practice. We need to actually run rates. So, Melissa, after we've taken all that information, right, we get them, talk to the realtor, say, hey, listen, this is how much the buyer can go with their down payment. This is where they want to be payment-wise. I think I'm one of the only loan officers that actually asks buyers that question. How much do you want to spend per month?
Yeah.
I know when my wife Katie and I bought a house, we were like, whoa, we don't want to spend more than $1,800 a month, and this was back in 2002. And I think every buyer has that the type of their mind, because we as a loan officer, we don't know anything but your credit report. I don't know if you like to go out to dinner, if you have a boat, if you like to go to the beach. I don't know if you like to travel. I don't
You
know if
know
you
a
like,
lot about me. Look at that.
I'm naming all the things that she does. I don't know if you like to go to the vineyard or go to dinner at certain restaurants. I enjoy the same ones. But it's you really want to seek out information from somebody rather than just be like name, birth date, social. Like, we need to get to know you, right? Because I don't want to set you up to fail. I don't want to set the realtor up to fail. And we don't want to put any money in jeopardy. Because I guarantee you that person, if that's the last week, unless that commitment date was late, their deposit was probably in jeopardy.
Well, yeah, I don't even know what ended up happening.
I know that there was one extension. So there was an extension. So it was supposed to close 1 week, and then it was supposed to close the next
They
week.
couldn't have gotten a commitment letter.
And no, they didn't have a commitment letter, because at the end of the day, when the file was finally looked at, the person did not qualify, because,
Right.
I could tell you I make $1 million a year, and you can say, okay, you can afford this.
And you can fill that out online.
Yeah.
There's no verification.
There's no verification. However, it's the week before closing. You say, oh, let me see if they actually make $1 million. Oh, no, they make $10,000.
And then the loan officer got very, very upset with one of the agents and was like, into the buyer themselves, and like they were like, I'm issuing you a denial letter. Never call me again.
Wow. Interesting.
And you know what's so sad about that is we had an office meeting here, with 15 agents sitting here, hearing this story and knowing who that loan officer is. I'm telling you, we're all going to be a little queasy if we see that person's name come across our desk again.
Yep.
And that's too bad. That's what your reputation is. And Pete, I know you know me, and I don't know what my reputation is out there in your industry, but I know in the past I've been known as being, earlier in my career, just a little tough, just because I want everything to be perfect for my clients. And I feel that you feel the same way when you have our clients,
100%.
right? So it's like we're all working for the same thing, and I don't have to worry about what your job is because you are, right? I can worry about my job.
And whether you're a landscaper, a builder, you're a secretary, you're in the financial business, whatever you're doing, we don't like working for free, right? And that's the bottom line. So, like, when something doesn't work out up front, we explain to the client, this is the path you need to take to get there, right? So we don't issue them a pre-approval. We don't issue them a denial because they didn't apply.
Yeah.
But we get them on a path, whether it be credit score, whether it be down payment, whether it be we're not going to meet your payment requirement right now, no matter what the deal is.
Yep.
So again, your home is most likely your greatest asset. I appreciate that more than most. And I don't like to screw with it because, there's only a couple different things. And Dr. Joe actually taught me this.
Yeah.
That, as human beings, we have instincts. Food.
Shelter.
Number 2, shelter. These are things that we look to in life in general. And like when you mess with someone's shelter, it is not cool.
No.
And that's so interesting too, because I've been doing this just as long as you have, and I remember in 2004 and 2005 when it was like that, but everybody was moving so fast, nobody was making good decisions, and I always felt anxious, like I had anxiety. And when it happened
Like
again,
this past spring?
yes, and we kept on saying on air, I am a real estate agent. I am telling you that this is reckless. You don't need to give up. Like, we heard of one that's several $100,000 over asking to get a house, if that's what you want. But when we were talking in the car ride yesterday, and we were saying, and you would maybe know this, I don't know if people come back to you, but, and you sort of hinted about this earlier too, we won't get to where we were in 2010, 2009 with foreclosures, in my opinion, because I feel everybody that we also saw, they were putting down a ton of
Lots of
equity.
money. Yep.
A ton of equity. So they're not just putting keys on a counter and walking away from a bank. If people start to lose jobs and everything, and they were still at their max of what they could afford monthly and put their life savings onto this house, they would be walking away from hard-earned equity cash
Yep.
of their own.
Well, a lot of people traded up.
Yeah.
Right? Or traded down and
Yeah.
downsized and kept a lot of money. I think this is the setup that was different. In 2008, we had products that are not here. So we talked about ARMs a little bit, so I can
Yeah.
touch on that. So
You know what? Before we get to that, Tim,
Okay.
are we ready for a break? Maybe we could do that.
Always ready.
All right. So you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am Sharon McNamara, along with my sidekick here, Melissa Wallace. She is the Director of Operations here at Boston Connect Real Estate. And, of course, we have Pete.Fickeisen here with us from CrossCountry Mortgage, talking all things mortgages. We're going to get into another topic when we come back from this break, so we will be right back.
Let's face it.
All
we all
right,
get to
Sharon,
the
his
point in our
level's pretty
lives
good,
when
but
our current
What?
home
your
is
level
overseas
went down.
by
I don't know
every
what
week.
you're doing. I just
With
wanted you to
ever-changing
bring his
living
level up.
dynamics,
I didn't do anything
Melissa
else.
sounded
about
fine.
right-sizing.
I
You know,
didn't
finding the
touch
right
anything
size home
else,
for you
so
right now.
I'll
Are you finding
go
yourself in
change. I'll
unexpected
go put me up
circumstances?
again.
Are you worried about a loved one living alone? Does
Thank you.
multi-generational living make the most sense for you?
Why is it when I
Let
come
us
on
help
it
you.
dies?
We can have we can have it
Sharon McNamara,
cut out for
owner
the
of Connect
podcast.
Real Estate. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team,
Yeah,
or one of the
maybe
dedicated agents at
eventually we
Boston
can
Connect
get
Real
to
Estate
like
discuss
what we were
your
talking
real
about
estate
yesterday.
needs, you can connect with us.
I'm good.
Connect.com or 781-826-8000.
Sorry. Talk about what? I'm sorry.
How we were talking about yesterday, how like different it is for buyers right now when they're how many times they can see the house.
Oh, yeah.
Wild.
yeah, and I can get into. You can, if you want to ask me, like, so, hey, what are some ways? So some of the things I'm going to review Tuesday.
You guys ready to come
So
back?
our interest rate buy downs.
Hello, and we are back. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. We're just so excited about this conversation tonight, so we were talking off air during the commercials. Again, we have Pete.Fickeisen with us, and he is from CrossCountry Mortgage. He is the branch manager of the Marshfield office right up on Plain Street.
Yep,
Plain Street.
139.
139,
Nice.
yep. And, of course, I have Melissa Wallace with me. I'm Sharon McNamara. If you have any questions for us this morning, please feel free to call in. Pete, not Pete. Pete is with us. Tim is in the studio, 781-837-4900. So feel free to call in with any questions that you may have. Pete, before we went to break, you were going to talk about different programs,
Yep.
ARMs, all that stuff. So let's get into some of that.
Yeah, so we talked about ARMs before. So an ARM is an adjustable rate mortgage. So what this program basically does is, I don't want you to think back to 2008, 2009, or prior to that, where people were in ARMs that were very different. They were exotic products, we'll call them. Those products aren't around anymore. The reason why we had a lot of problems back then was because there was a couple products based for commission-based borrowers, or borrowers that got large bonuses at the end of the year. The problem was, Sharon, they gave those products to people that weren't supposed to get them, W-2 products, which is really, really important. Okay, so an ARM is an adjustable rate mortgage. If you did a 5-year ARM, you'd be set for 5 years and then could adjust after that. If it's a 7-year ARM, it's fixed for 7 years. A 10-year ARM is fixed for 10 years. So the 5-year ARM, we're not doing as many today because it's a really quick time period. The 7 and the 10, I'd say we're doing 90% of our deals that way right now. The difference is about 0.75 of a percentage point in rate. So you're talking, depending on your loan amount, $200, $300, $400, $500 difference per month. Very, very, very important.
Is it a balloon type thing? So at the end, you have to pay it?
Nope,
No?
that's more of like a home equity line type of
Okay.
product or a commercial product.
Okay.
No balloon, so there's no balloon at the end like what was happening in 2008.
Yep.
Basically, you can adjust up or down depending on the ARM product. So, last few years, a lot of people's ARMs expired. A lot of people refied them into fixed products, 15
Yeah.
or a 30-year fixed. But a lot of people kept them because they were adjusting lower to like 1%, 1.5%. So, again, we're going to look at the product based on your plan for the ownership of the home. That's it. Okay? So if you tell me, hey, Pete, we're going to go in, we're going to buy this house, we're going to put $300,000 into it, we're going to redo the whole thing, I'm going to be done in 24 months, put me in a 5-year ARM.
Yep.
100%. We know we're going to get you out of it in 5 years.
Yep.
Now, if you're financing with 10% down and you're doing, let's say, a $700,000 loan and the house is turnkey, I might say, hey, listen, a 7 or a 10 is going to bridge you to the next rate drop most likely, and it's more safe in case the market shifts a little bit from value, right? If your house has been completely done and it's turnkey, it's moving condition, you don't need to do anything, your equity position, right? It's
Yeah.
not going to just explode unless
Yeah.
the market explodes.
And
So-
potentially it could go down in 10 years, that now you look outdated in some
Right.
instances, right? If you're buying a 10-year-old house, in
Yeah.
10 years, it's 20 years. Now the roof, the heating system, all those things you have to think about, right?
Right. So these products are just like a 30-year fix, though. They're amortized that way. They pay down the same exact way. They are not interest only. They are not a minimum interest product like before. So in '08, we had products called the pay option arm. So you had the option to pay principal and interest. Say your payment was $3,000, principal and interest. Then you had the option of doing interest only. Say it was $2,000. And then you have the option to pay 1%. So it was $1,000.
Wow.
So what happened was they were delivering these products, 95, 100% loan to value, no money down. The market flipped, rates went up, nobody was buying houses, the value of homes sunk, so now I owe more than the house is worth. And now I'm looking at a product going, okay, I qualified at 1%, not the 3, and then if it's $3,000, I'm only paying 1, you're deferring $2,000 to principal every month.
Yeah.
So every 12 months, that's $24,000.
Yeah.
You go 3 years, that's almost $75,000. That's a lot of equity to make up in a home.
Yeah.
Right? So there you see how people went under because insured sales were super prevalent
Ugh.
and foreclosures. But the problem is, and this is the same thing for home equity lines today, folks, right? You have to have a path to pay down the mortgage. Home equity lines are interest only. So I was speaking with a gentleman the other day, policeman, and he makes $85,000 a year. Okay. Next year he'll get his bump, his raise. The year after he'll get his bump, his raise. He's W-2. His income's not going to change. I said, hey man, you got great equity, you got a good rate here.
Yep.
You want to do this really large renovation. You've got a small mortgage, your house is worth here, your loan to value is super low, it's like 50%.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know rates are in the mid fives, but what is your path to pay back that $150,000? You're looking at a minimum payment of only $200 a month now. Now it just went up 0.75, so probably $225.
Yep.
But what's your path to pay this thing off? And he looked at me and goes, you're right. And I was just like, yeah, because you're W-2, you're fixed income.
Yep.
These products are made for people that have the ability to pay off. Like, I'm going to sell my house, or I'm going to have a life event where I'm going to get money. I'm going to get a bonus. I can pay it down. You can't get into hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest-only debt
Yep.
if you've got no path to pay it off.
Yep. That's good, though, that you sort of educate them on that and sort of counsel them on that whole process, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And everybody can Google it. We talked about that earlier. Now they're YouTubing it and TikToking it, you know what I mean, to find out everything. And I was listening to Clubhouse the other day, and they actually said, oh, I listened to TikTok for this. There's someone on there that gives like financial advice. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
financial advice on TikTok, what? But I think it's great that you do take the time to sort of sit with people and help them understand that, because I'll say my history of selling homes, I mean, it's been 21 years, and I should look up that number, how many houses I've sold.
Yeah.
I can say of all the homes I've sold, I only know of 2 that the person one ended up in foreclosure and basically just walked away from it. And the other one, and I didn't even help him buy that. Actually, I was trying to help him sell it. And one had a bad divorce. So it's, and it was in 2004.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he bought at the height and they got divorced at the low, because we will talk to people and sort of counsel them and say, is this really what you want to be doing?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, product-wise, again, it's all about where you want to be down the road. Again, this is your greatest asset. We have to plan that way, just like you'd plan if you inherited money. What are you going to do with it? Someone just passed away, your grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, cousin, you just inherited $200,000. What are you going to do with it? You have to think about that just like your house, right?
yeah.
It's easy just to pick a 30-year fixed. That's, hey, conservative, let's go.
But even those rates, Pete, do you think? I mean, I don't see them as terrible. I feel like we're normalizing. That's what I've been calling it. It's not a correction. What we went through with those low rates was abnormal. We were in
lowest ever.
Yeah, we were in a crisis, right? I mean, the world was upside down with COVID, and they had to do things in order to get the economy, staying strong. That was the abnormal. This is normalizing, right?
It is. I mean, I've never seen, the government print money and give it away like that, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, here's all the money. And, let's dive into that real quick. So, Mass Housing just came out with a spectacular product. Okay.
Love it.
And, it's only for certain areas. So, locally, I think Brockton's probably going to be the closest for us.
Okay.
New Bedford.
Okay.
But it's called the Mass Dreams product. And Mass Housing in the state, they have $60 million. I just did the training on it last week. $60 million are giving the borrower up to $50,000. Now, let's talk about Brockton, Plymouth area. You have to have a one person or two people max income, household income of 140 grand or less. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be, let's say, about a $400,000 to $500,000 home, depending on what other debt you have to qualify, because we have to look at your debt to income ratio. But they'll give you, so it's a $500,000 home, that's 10%, or you could use $40,000 and use the $10,000 towards closing costs and prepaids. You literally are not having to bring any money. The thing that you'll have to figure out up front, though, folks, and that's why you got to work with a good real estate agent, is you need to figure out how you're going to get that seller to accept the fact that you might not have money. So you may have to put some money down up front for your offer and then at your purchase and sale. So, but these are all things that we sit down with you and your agent and talk about before you go out and look. You don't want to just get a pre-approval and think, oh, I'm just getting all this money, I'm just going to go out and make offers, because your agent's going to be writing in clauses into your offer and your purchase and sale of money that you have to put down physically. So make sure that you make that cost. And, I'm just going to say it, there's going to be a lot of real estate agents on the listing side really looking at who is the lender on the other side to make sure this stuff's going to happen, like the instance you were talking about before.
Yeah.
I already do that, yeah. Nothing's changing for me.
Nothing's changing for me.
But, I think that, I'm just thinking about that, so it's, more like urban, if you're talking like Brockton, city of New Bedford, right?
Right.
That city, right?
Boston. Yep.
So I think that that's good, because it will give people maybe, a better opportunity. Everybody deserves this, the American dream thing. When does the $50,000 come off? Like,
It doesn't. It's forgiven immediately at the purchase.
Okay. Sorry, I'm having a...
Yep.
Okay. I just wasn't sure. I was thinking so hard that I have smoke coming out of my ears.
No,
I was just trying to figure it out now, like how you would write up the loan.
It's a
right
forgivable
up the
loan.
off. Okay.
We write as a second mortgage, but it's a forgivable lien.
Okay. Because I was thinking about how that you would write up that offer, and I'm actually not quite sure that too many agents are savvy enough to like really look deep into a pre-approval letter to see that that's the type of loan that the person's actually getting. So they will be concentrating on those deposits, like you said.
Correct.
Right.
Yep. You're going to have to look at the deposits, and as a realtor, you got to ask those questions, and I think most will, specifically for that. We don't reference on a pre-approval. Some agents, some loan officers might, what the exact program is. It would just say conventional.
Yeah. So in that program that you were just talking about through Mass Housing, is there a what your credit score? Like, is there like a threshold for the?
Yeah, there's credit score requirements. There's income requirements. There's location requirements. But Besides the Mass Dream product, there's other down payment assistant loans that we do offer through them.
Okay.
I mean, Mass Housing's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've been working with them for a very, very long time. This is the first time, though, in my career that we've seen this type of product. So, I think
That's great.
there's some leftover money in the state. I'm really excited to putting it towards housing.
Yeah.
And I think, you guys tell me, we're seeing a lot of opportunity for buyers out there right now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the spring we talked about was just cuckoo.
Reckless,
Now it's I'm seeing inspections back in there. I'm seeing contingencies back in there. And I'm seeing prices they're stabilizing.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen a lot of price adjustments with some of the listings going on, and having to come down a little bit in price because
We call it a price enhancement.
Because like you said, like buyers are very savvy right now. They know that they don't want to overpay for something, and what we were saying off air, which might have been on air, who knows. We spent the day yesterday. Obviously, we talk about real estate when we're together all the time. But Sharon has a client who was able to see a property 3 times before they decided not to move forward with that property. And we were talking like 2 years ago or during the pandemic, you had 5 minutes to walk through an open house with a mask on and decide, okay, I'm going to put in an offer, and it's emotionally driven. It's everything, and you're going over it, you're waving. And if you think about it, that person might have, if they waived their home inspection, if they waived everything else, they might have saw the house 2 times before closing day. And Sharon has a client who was able to see a property 3 times before they decided it's just too much for me, it needs too much work. Because every time they went in, they saw something else.
Different. Right.
And so it's just wild to think, everybody who sort of purchased something, like you said, you can't buy.
No, I can't
shoes.
buy. I can't buy a pair of shoes on Zappos in 15 minutes sitting on my couch with a glass of wine. You know what I mean? And when people were going in open houses, it was crazy. It was reckless. But are you seeing those people, or any of those people coming back to you, Pete, and just saying, because I'm thinking that there's a lot of buyer's remorse for the people who did that.
I think there's some buyer's remorse, but I think, again, like we were saying before, unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of our first-time home buyers even be able to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people that had a lot of cash. So we're seeing like August was, it's crazy. We even had a really busy August in a long time, except for during the pandemic. But August was our biggest month. We happened to just come over to CrossCountry after being acquired, and it's like, it was our biggest month of the year so far.
Yeah.
And that was because there was opportunity. And
Yeah.
I think, just kind of segueing into that, you guys tell me, fall, winter, great opportunity to get into a house because there's like that kind of pent up thing that like, I'm going to wait to put my house on the market in the spring. Well, if you want to, right now is great. And again, buyers, rates, don't worry about the rates. We're going to get you into a program that you can refinance.
And
that's the big thing.
Aren't you? You're just dating. You're just dating.
You're just
Yeah.
dating. Don't cheat on me.
You can dump them.
Don't cheat on me. But you can date.
Don't cheat on me, but
Don't
you
cheat
can
on me. We'll date, but you cannot cheat on me. But that's a good point of what you're saying is I think it's so important for people to understand when they sit with you and your team, whether it's virtual or however you're doing that, you're looking at what that person's needs, wants, desires are, and you're finding a product to fit them rather than going into, and I'm saying it again, these big banks, this is what we have to offer. You know what I mean? So it's like going to an ice cream shop and you have your choice between chocolate and vanilla. Okay, I guess I'll have to take vanilla. No swirl offered. But then you go to somebody like you at CrossCountry where you have the opportunity to say, hey, we have strawberry, we have Rocky Road, we have, don't you think that's a good analogy? Right?
Frozen yogurt.
Frozen yogurt, Italian ice. You can find what fits what their taste is.
100%.
That was such a good analogy, don't you think?
It was a great analogy. I think the other thing you got to look at too, though, right now there's been a lot of people going into the local banks and the bigger banks, and they're a little bit overrun. I had a client lose an offer the other day that became our client because the local bank said, hey, listen, we got too much business right now. I can't close for 60 days. He had to close.
We have too much business?
The local banks have had some super, super low rates. Now with the Fed raising rates, that's going to affect the local bank, right? So we're the number 2 retail bank in the country right now at CrossCountry.
Yeah.
So, we're working with everybody nationally, and, we're looking at all the different things that are happening in every certain area that our branches cover that affect our buyers and trying to find them the best products.
And I bet if I wanted sprinkles on my ice cream,
We
I
could
could
get you
them.
those.
You can get me sprinkles.
Yeah.
Sorbet.
And sorbet. I love sorbet.
We love a good sorbet.
To all our WATD listeners and to those of you who are watching us on Facebook, good morning. We are live here in our home studio in Pembroke Center, right across from Stop and Shop. So if you're over there and you want to come see us live, come on over. Our door is always open for you. It's a home to call our own. Melissa actually gave us that tagline. But we have Pete.Fickeisen with us from CrossCountry Mortgage, and he's talking all things mortgage today. If you have any questions for him or for us regarding real estate, feel free, my friends, to give us a call, 781-837-4900. Tim is manning the phones at WATD Studio in Marshfield, and he will get you right through to us. We have about 9 minutes left. So any other programs that you want to discuss?
Yeah, just going back to the process part, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
So we're not the type of people, and I think you want to work with a loan officer, like you walk into a bank, they don't hold the same licenses that we do, right? So
explain that.
So a retail loan officer like myself, we carry a federal license. I just actually did an FBI background check.
Wow.
Phenomenal. Get to go to a random building and do fingerprints.
Wow.
So we have a really financial wellness test. I mean, you have a credit report, everything. So like there's a lot of people that get axed out of what I do because they have a past or not good credit or haven't paid their loans or have too much debt and are not financially responsible. That's when like you guys could go apply at any bank locally and be a loan officer.
Really?
Correct.
Wow.
That's scary. I had no idea about
So
that.
think of me as like the waiter and the chef. Okay. And my team, they execute on the whole meal, right? That's what we do.
Yeah.
So the same person that's at the local bank could be the person that's, serving you pretzels at TD Bank.
Yeah.
At the where the Celtics play. You don't have to carry those licenses to work there. They do all their financial wellness inside. So, it's really important to trust where your thing is. So I might have a checking account at a local bank or a big national bank.
Yeah.
They're very good at those.
Yeah.
Credit unions,
But
right?
mortgages, you want to make sure we are going to call you when rates drop. The big banks are not. The local banks not.
Yeah.
They have no incentive to refinance you. They want to keep you at 4.5%, 5%. I'm going to call you and say it's 2%, 15-year fix. This is what we talked about 2 years ago. Are you ready to
Yeah.
go? The semi-annual loan review, huge thing, right? People like, oh my gosh, we're having our third kid. I'm so glad you called. We got to move. I'm like, great. Let me get you in touch with Sharon. You really ready to do it.
We gotta move.
Yeah.
But it's just super important that anything life-changing that you're doing,
Yeah.
you gotta let your financial
It's a
person
team. You are an advisor. Like
100%.
I think about my brother-in-law Michael McNamara on Money that everybody listens to here on WATD. He is my financial advisor. He advises me on what to do, when to do it. I
Correct.
love that you're going to take the time to call back my clients and say, hey, listen, the rates dropped and this is a good time for you. One of the things, I want to backtrack just one sec because we were talking a little bit about inventory and not having a lot of it. And, in the winter and fall, you're better off being one of less inventory than one of much. So that's why I love this time of year for people listing their homes. But we were also talking about this in the car yesterday, and I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
I am. I'm going
you
to.
go.
I really am. This is my little crystal ball. We'll have to come back in 6 months and see if I was right or not. But we're all hearing about the rates for utilities going up and skyrocketing. So I feel like our boomer plus generation, they're already working off of, what they have for retirement, right? Social Security, things like that. They're in these big homes. I'm not sure they're going to be able to handle the costs of the rising heat costs this winter. And I wonder if people are going to decide, you know what, I'm snowbirding. I'm out now. And that they will sell this fall before they have to hit that winter. I think if that's part of your future plan, I think it's a good idea. Now, next door to us, where Shepherd's was, that's going to be it's allotted to be 66 apartments for 55 plus. I think that's great, because there's no one, you called it downsizing, we call it right sizing. It's the right size for you right now, right? It's not a downer. I think that that's what we will probably see. I don't know, what do you think?
There's a lot of those going on.
Yeah.
In Situate, I mean, they're building,
Yeah.
I think there's a proximity if you put in your public transportation.
Yeah.
There's some rule there.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
I haven't seen that many apartments go in, but there's a need. I mean,
Yeah.
my cousin was trying to find a rental. 4 months.
Yeah.
4 months. Was in a rental in Hanover. The owner's daughter, they were in that rental for 13 years in Hanover. Kid was graduating last year from Hanover High.
Yeah.
They had to move to Weymouth. I mean, they had to commute down and drive into Hanover High every day. Closest rental, $3,800 for a 2-bed.
It's crazy.
It's so, again, like, I know you guys had talked on a couple previous shows about rent versus buy. I'm going to tell you to buy every single time.
Yeah.
Okay? You're making no
So are
investment.
we.
Will you come back and do another show on that?
100%. You're
Okay.
making no investment. I don't care where interest rates are. For a lot of you, for first-time home buyers, you're going to have an incentive called an interest deduction. Okay? So the interest rate's 5%, 6%, 20%, whatever it is, you're going to be able to write that off. The most interest paid back on a 30-year fixed mortgage or a 30-year amortized mortgage is within the first 5 to 7 years. So, I'm sure the financial team or your accountant can tell you, but it's super important. Do not discount looking to buy because of rates. We can get you into a spot, and I'm telling you, I think there's some deals.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And you know what? Doesn't matter what flavor ice cream you like, Pete.Fickeisen is the guy to get you that mortgage that's going to fit
You're
your
making me
needs.
hungry.
I like chocolate.
I like everything,
I'm so
honestly.
boring.
I haven't met an ice cream yet that I don't like. All right, we have just a couple minutes left here. So, Pete, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so you can go online to the Fickeisengroup.com. So
Spell that out.
THEFICKEISEN group.com. We're also located on in between Sullivan Tire and Santander on Plain Street or 139 in Marshfield, 892 Plain. Or you can give us a call, 508-240-4418.
Give that phone number one more time.
508-240-4418.
And of course, if you didn't get any of that, you can find us at bostonconnect.com, and we are happy to get you over to Pete.
Yeah.
And he's going to be in our office on Tuesday. He's going to be doing a master class for our agents. That's what we call them now, okay? Master class for all of our agents.
A master class.
A master
Yes.
class.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're
Love it.
excited. And he's also going to help us sponsor. So we have something coming up. So put this in your calendar, everybody. It's October 29th. We're having a parade here. It's for kids and pets and all that. We're going to have some tables set up and some great prizes. So you'll be able to go some trick-or-treating the Saturday before Halloween, which is October 29th?
Yeah.
October 29th, and that's from 12 to 2 here at our office, but we'll give you more information on that too. So, Mel, you want to
Yeah.
tell people how they can find us?
Yeah, you can go to talkrealestateroundtable.com, listen to all of our past shows. You can go on your podcast app, Spotify, all that fun stuff. You can just type in Talk Real Estate Roundtable. You can even Google us because we show up. We're so cool. You can go to bostonconnect.com, get all of our contact information. You can call us here at our office, 781-826-8000. Pete, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with us this morning.
No problem. Hey, one last thing. Just
Yeah.
want to give one shout out to my coworker Nick Clark. Happy birthday,
Oh, yeah.
buddy!
Happy birthday,
Have a
Nick.
good
Happy birthday, Nick.
And we expect you to bring your dog to the
Yes.
Halloween dog parade
To the-
and
yeah.
kid parade.
Yes, it's going to be lots of fun, and we'll have more information on that, so we'll put it on our website as well. Tim, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.
All right, bye, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday. I wish we could hear the music louder sometimes when we're leaving. That was good.